Greetings and welcome to Acadian Comics. I'm your host, James Fondren, and this is Comics Haul episode 45. And I am a little late on this because now we're already in a whole new week of releases. But to make it easy, this would have been New Comics Day on Wednesday, April 16th. So without further delay, let's get right into this. So I picked some of these up at Midtown Comics on Fulton Street. So that was that's where I picked them up at my old stomping grounds down there. But here is Godzilla vs. Hulk #1. They're doing all these Godzilla vs. different Marvel characters, and I kind of flipped through it. The art is fine, it's not it's good. They get to, some lucky comic artist gets to draw Godzilla, but if you're wondering about who wins, the Hulk or Godzilla, I don't know. I flipped through and I got to the end. I was a little disappointed that it wasn't really what they didn't actually have the Hulk. Spoilers ahead, by the way. The Hulk doesn't actually fight Godzilla. It fights this gooey egg thing. Black gooey egg goo that basically tries to venomize. It makes this venom version of Godzilla, and then the Hulk has to come Hulk smash and all that. So that's Godzilla versus Hulk #1. I don't know if it's number one or there's gonna be more continuing story, but the cover's cool. That's what you want to see in a Godzilla vs. Hulk comic, but that's not unfortunately what you get in this first issue. So anyway, that's Godzilla vs. Hulk #1. Absolute Batman #7. I gotta say, I thought #6 was a great issue, but I'm just not a fan of the direction they're going with the art style. And maybe it's just me. Marcos Martin, I'm not familiar with his work, but as I started, I'm not going to flip through the whole thing, but as I started reading this, I thought, this isn't for me really. I'm looking at this and look at this. What is going on here? What is that? I don't know. This is sort of a strange look, and I kind of like different artists. See, that's gross. But anyway, different artists, and I'm looking forward to Hush 2. Yeah, Hush 2. So that's going to be good. But anyway, I'm not going to spoil it, but that's meh. Thought it was a cool cover, but meh. Absolute Batman #7. Meh. Flash #2. I do have to say that this was sort of a drop off from Flash #1. I don't want to spoil it. Again, I do like the art style in this book. I do like the pencils and inks and everything. So, it's a lot of this in between worlds, in between different times, different time for the Flash. So, I do like this aesthetic they have with this orange, yellow, pink, red going on. It's pretty cool. It gives the comic a good vibe, but does it move the story along? Yes. Is it a great second issue? It's all right. The first issue was really good and kind of left me wondering what's going to happen next. And then issue 2 comes along, and I feel like they didn't really stick the landing as well as they did with the first one, and they're not really keeping the momentum in the same way I would say as Superman, Absolute Superman. But not every issue of Absolute Superman is a home run or a grand slam rather. So, or just home run. But yeah, anyway, that's Absolute Flash #2. The Legacy of Vader, Ghosts of Tatooine. So, I read The Legacy of Vader #1. It's a Kylo Ren, Disney Star Wars comic. And, I mean, they had a great cliffhanger in the first issue where Kylo Ren's, spoilers, by the way, if you wish to not know what happens in this issue, please stop here. But he's getting tortured by this Gardula the Hutt, and his little force blob is down here saying, oh, maybe you shouldn't, kill him. You keep torturing him, you're going to kill him. But what was interesting was that there was this, they give him some sort of like narcotic or some kind of hallucinogen, and he has a hallucination of Vader. And basically it's like this fanboy worship, this hero worship. He's like, speak to me, grandfather. You ask me for help. Everything that made me magnificent. He says, let me backtrack. He says, you are magnificent. Please, I need your guidance. Wah, wah, wah. And then he's like, I need to speak to me, grandfather. And then Vader says, you ask me for help. And look, there's Kylo Ren all tied up. right? It's like the gimp's coming. Like, here's the gimp. Get the gimp. But anyway, so we got Vader here. He's like, everything that made me magnificent, I did alone. Ooh, he really shows him, huh? So anyway, that happens, and then you kind of go through this, and he's not giving in to the torture. You know, the Hutt, Gardula the Hutt's like, beg. He's like, beg, I won't beg, no. And then all of a sudden, he's like, you think that this is part of his vision, right? I'm spoiling the whole thing. I don't care. And he's out, and somehow he's transported back. Like, somehow, some way, he's here from inside that palace and that prison cell or whatever. Yeah, so he ends up back here, and he has this Krayt Dragon thing, and he kills the Krayt Dragon. This is implied. Now he's wearing the hood. He's got the tooth, and he's got the hide of a Krayt Dragon, right? And it was all according to plan. The whole thing, like, oh look, they're saying, oh, fire on my position. Basically, he says fire on my position, and you know, this is actually a flashback though. It's a flashback to him doing this, and I don't know why he did this, but anyway, he gets captured intentionally, and then they fire on his position, and then somehow he gets out. So I don't know. Did they stick the landing on that either? Not sure. And I picked up this trade that came out in March, Wolverine Law of the Jungle. So you've got some, you got some Dan Fraga comic in here. And some other artists. Dan Fraga drew Wolverine. Let's see. I think Ethan Van Sciver, he did one issue in here. I'll know it when I see it. It has sort of a Cyber Frog vibe to it, with because basically Wolverine battles like insects and these talking insects. Can I find it? This isn't it. This is it here. Yeah. So this is some of Ethan Van Sciver's work on this one issue. See? Yeah. So anyway, that's it for Comics Haul. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a real short one, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Oh, and let me get all this out of the way first. What's going to be the future of the channel? Well, I have been coming across some of these interesting how to draw books, and I've got a whole collection now. I think the full run of the official How to Draw Robotech. So here's issue 1 of How to Draw Robotech. I'm just going to flip these over. I've already rebagged and boarded all these bad boys. It's issue 2. Wait, hold on a second. It's 1, 2. Where's 3? Do I have 3 here? Oh, yeah. 3's right here. Here is issue 3. And I kind of want to learn how to draw some mechs, so I'm just going to show the covers real quick, and then from that I will, I'll open one of these up. I'll open the first one up so you can see what that looks like. So these are all the issues of How to Draw Robotech, and I'm actually going to do these. I'm going to go through this and just, learn how to do this. I mean, they do basic stuff. Yeah, you could complain and say, oh, look, I had 2 issues of that. Interesting. Look at the different coloration on these. This is a different... yeah, okay. It's slightly different. The coloring is just... That's interesting. So anyway, makes me wonder if one's like a facsimile or not the real thing. But yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go through this and maybe draw some Robotech. Because this, first and foremost, I am learning how to draw comics. I am a student of the How to Draw Comics Academy, Clayton Barton's How to Draw Comics Academy. I highly recommend you check that out. It's howtodrawcomicsacademy.com, and sign up. You get free every week. You get feedback and critique sessions. You're in a group of your peers, fellow artists who are learning how to draw. So I highly recommend getting into something like that. there are other platforms, and I'm familiar with them, and I'm even a part of those. But I started with Clayton, and I've had a lot of success, and getting that customized feedback and that familiarity as a student, and him being the teacher and a mentor. It's I wouldn't be where I am right now without that being a member of the academy. Here is how to draw Robotech, and it's almost like how to draw comics the Marvel way. Like, this is fine. Like, starting this and doing the heads and everything, doing your shapes. But I posted pictures of this into a Discord, and I had some people, they're like, oh, that's disappointing, that's all you get. But what else do you need? Like, make it happen. Like, start here, work your way here to here to here. Like, I can do this, I can follow this. This is like not hard at all. And maybe I'll post a few of these, but you see how it's kind of built up. They're showing you the process. Like, this would be the underdrawing. We'd get rid of like this underdrawing, and then we would start doing this after we put the tubes in. You see you have the sticks, the stick figure, then you have the cylinder shapes, and then you have the final drawing over that. But I really like these helmets. Like, this is cool, man. This is cool design, and just getting this like, kind of written to disc, as Clayton would say, I think would be a good thing. I don't know if I'm going to be writing many sci-fi or drawing a lot of sci-fi stuff, but I do like sci-fi, so I would consider doing like a sci-fi comic. Look at this. Look at the simplification of the eye and like kind of the glare and reflections here. This is all good stuff, and this is not necessarily anime. This would be, or manga. You could do this in a regular comic too. But look at these. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That is badass. Robotech. Check that out. Some more Robotech. So yeah, I'm gonna do some of this, but here's like the back, and I'll show you all the pages. But this is what I want to do. I want to practice drawing these mechs. Look at that. You see, a mech is just basic shapes that they've taken some design elements and added them in. I'm sure they have used conventional aircraft or military aircraft, and you kind of work it in, and you can get these really cool mech drawings. Like, look at this. Now this is cool. You see how you can do this? Like, where are the shapes here? I like this. They show you, here's the rear view, here's the attack mode view. Like, get the practice in, and then flip it on its head and like find the shapes. Get familiar with the process. So yeah, that's how to draw Robotech, and maybe we'll do a few of those. But also, let me show you something else I've got. Just a moment. So this won't fit on, oh God. This won't fit all the way on here. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I have these massive, I'll probably have to make this even bigger. I have these massive Joe Kubert drawing books when you'd put like Bristol board in here. So here's the horror book. This is an inking book, which I thought was really cool. I can open up a page. See, like, you have a table of contents, and see, the idea was for students to come in and see, you have your practice page here on the right, and then you have your other page here, and he's showing you all this stuff. I'd love to get this a little more condensed, but this is like for the real, like, conventional, traditional drawing student, but it's great to see it big and look at and seeing these rendering techniques like here and here. When I came across this, I thought, this is so cool. I've got some, I actually, another thing I have is Sketch Magazine. So we'll crack open Sketch Magazine, which is different from Wizard, but it's got some similarities to it, and we'll get into that. And look, he's showing you brush tips like in here if you work conventionally. So this is like gold, this is gold here. Let's see, another Joe Kubert World of Cartooning story graphs. Look at that. Super villains. Oh, this one's thick. Super villains and superheroes. And then penciling. This is great. Like, I've already flipped through this a little bit. But penciling, let's see, hold on. Yeah, like, you could start off and you can he says practice. Whoops. See, it's so big. I'm running out of space on my desk. Practice like sketching these, like trace and copy, these penciling So copying, I could trace it and then I could look at it and do it. Kind of get familiar, stay drawing. You know, I got to get back on the drawing wagon because you know, the Easter week and all that, I kind of let it slip a little bit. Getting back to those fundamentals, getting back to my figure drawing, but yeah, it goes on and on and on, and I don't know how I'm gonna fit this in. I'm probably gonna have to like raise this way up in the air and to cover it so you can see it, and I'll do a video like that at some point in the future. But I hope you enjoyed that, and you know, next time I'll get into these, and maybe we'll do a video on each one of these and break them down and condense them into like little 5-10 minute videos so you can see these books, because this is like, you know, gold right here. These are like gold art tablets as far as I'm concerned, Joe Kubert stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you right here next time at Acadian Comics. Bye for now.